The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Too fat, too thin, too tall, too slim. This week on #NoFilter, we are talking about body image and teens. Hi everyone, I'm Ruchika Bindra, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of #NoFilter. We are talking about body image, especially during your teenage years. With me today is our guest panelist, Isabelle Lahela. She is a young Canadian Olympic weightlifter, and she is an expert in knowing what it's like to being a teen and going through body issues, and is now somebody who works to empower both men and women and young teens. So we're really excited to have you on. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you guys.
We also have our amazing guest panelists today, our teens, Mark, Olivia, and Nikta. Hi, guys. Hey. I know body image is an issue which is pretty controversial, and I think it's not only something which teens go through. I think it's something you kind of battle your entire life, but I think it's at its highest and peak during teen years. So is this something that you guys have ever experienced or can relate to?
Definitely. I think that throughout the time where you understand, you're trying to figure out who you are, that's that time that you also are trying to figure out what you want to look like. And I feel like other people are telling you what you should look like, and that influences yourself, like your mindset. So you say like, oh, I should look like this, but I look like this, but I look like something else. So
it's a contradiction between what you think you look like versus what people are telling you look like.
Yeah, for sure. Like most of my friends go to the gym literally all the time, and I'm like at home on the couch, and I'm like, you know, like, should I go to the gym?
But would you want to go to the gym because you think it would make you healthy, or because you think it would make you look a certain way?
See, that's the thing. Like, obviously I want to be healthy, but I like sitting on the couch. I like watching TV. The gym is definitely a place I go to often, but not as often as my friends. And sometimes I'm like, ugh. Like, should I? Like, they look good. If I went as much as they did, would I look as good as them? So, I don't know. It's kind of
Isabella,
iffy.
is this comparison like something which goes on all throughout, or is this something just starts with teens when they're young and they kind of get over it?
I think it definitely starts when you're young. You mentioned something about going to the gym to be healthy versus going to the gym to look good. And I think, obviously, like, I advocate going to the gym to be healthy. And like as a side effect, it makes you look good, and then that makes you feel better, and then you look better, and you know, you're healthy overall. But I definitely think like people sometimes say, oh, I go to the gym just to be healthy, and then they look good. And like, who's lying? You realistically, like, you're not going to want to go unless it makes you look good. And I think that's like a really great incentive. So you could feel good about yourself and actually be healthy on the inside.
And it's realistic.
It's a win-win.
It's telling you exactly. It's a win-win. You give a little something, you get a little something. If your body's, you know, healthy and it's running and it's in its highest, and it's, you know, your endurance is strong, ultimately the way your body is, I guess, seen outside as well comes off more leaner and more healthy.
For sure. I mean, being happy definitely shows. So. And
it produces happy hormones. That's what I read today, and I was like, oh, that's maybe why I'm always jumping and smiling.
Yeah. I mean, going to the gym, like working out releases like those happy hormones definitely, and so you just feel great. Even if it kind of sucks to go there, you know, an hour is such a small portion out of your day that you'll thank yourself.
Yeah, 24 hours, if you put it that way, an hour really isn't much.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever gone through any body shaming or body image issues where, you know, your friends are maybe bigger or smaller versus you, and you're sort of stuck there comparing yourself to it?
I was, for sure, because I was always like the smaller guy out of my friends. And it wasn't necessarily I was smaller because I wasn't going to the gym or I wasn't working out. I was always an athletic kid, but I was more so about feeling good versus looking good. And so I kind of took that as my approach is I may not look as great, and I'd be maybe skinnier than some of my friends as well, but like I feel good about myself, and I like physically feel good when I do sports or when I do anything, and I don't really have any like health issues. So I feel like for me that was always more important to me than my body image, how I feel and how I think about myself versus what other people think.
And I think with guys, that's a big challenge, right? Because we always talk about body image and we talk about women, so it's great that you touched on that, because I think a lot of men as well, they don't vocally express it as much, but I think they go through these insecurities as well.
Almost in like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Right.
Like girls want to be skinnier, guys want to be bigger, for the most part, you know, not always, but.
Most of them, because and I also think it's part and parcel how it's presented to them, right? The bigger you are and the bulkier a man looks, it's apparently more appealing.
Yeah.
And I think for young, you know, teen males, that's a huge issue, because as he said, as long as he feels good and he's active and he's involved in sports, you're feeling healthy, right? And you're putting that time and energy to be fit,
which is really all that matters.
Like for me, I was always like smaller, but I didn't have a problem with that at all. Nobody really like I had people who told me I was skinny, and like they're like, maybe you want to get more bigger or whatever, but I'm like, I don't really want to do that, so I don't feel like I have to listen to you and do that just because you think I would look better like that, because
why do you think so many young male teens are taking in like protein powders and excessive types of, you know, like shakes and all these intense diets and stuff to bulk up? Like, why is this such an urgency? Like, in 6 months, you know, I need to bulk up, versus normally how long would it take, Isabel? Let's say a normal, you know, healthy guy at a normal 5'7" frame wants to, you know, get healthy and build a little bit of muscle. How long would a standard healthy process take?
Well, I mean, it definitely depends how often you train, how hard you train, but it's hard to build muscle. Like, I mean, some people definitely build muscle faster and more easily, and it depends how much you eat, but it takes a while. Like, you'll see changes, you know, 3 months, 6 months, but like, I'd say a year to really see that much of a big difference to fully like fill out takes a while. People are always scared. They like don't want to lift weights because they think it's going to make them bulky, but it's really hard to get bulky.
Do you think for men especially, like all the shakes and the powders, they're almost working against their body because they're lacking in some nutrients?
Well, I definitely think real food is better than any supplement you could possibly take. I mean, it's called a supplement if it's, you know, it's to supplement your diet. So if you're not getting enough protein or whatever, then yeah, have a shake, sure. Like, I have shakes all the time and it's convenient, but I think if you're especially a young guy, like the best advice I would probably give would just be eat everything. Like, if you want to bulk up, just eat everything. You know, you really don't need to worry about, you're going to get all your nutrients.
Right.
If you're eating a balanced diet and you're eating a lot, and that's how you're going to bulk up as well. You don't need all those shakes and like spending all that money on unnecessary things that aren't even necessarily proven to work that well. Other than protein, there's like BCAAs and all these other, creatine and stuff like that. Creatine works, but you know, just eating and training, it's actually a lot simpler than people think it is.
Perfect. And on that note, we are going to be back as we talk about more aspects of body image and the biggest issue of eating disorders. Welcome back to #NoFilter. We are talking about body image as a teen and the struggle. Eating disorders. They say in Canada and USA, eating disorders amongst teens are on the rise. Is this something which you guys have personally experienced or know through people that have experienced it?
I have not personally experienced it, but I do know a few people who have experienced it. I didn't really get in detail with them when speaking with them about it, obviously, because it is a touchy subject, but they did mention that it's not necessarily because they want to look a certain way. It was more the stress of things. It was more the stress of school and just the stress of just like making new friends and like maybe like
trying to fit in,
maybe going high school to university and that kind of new experience. So I don't know, like, I'm sure people experience eating disorders in different ways, stuff like that.
What about for guys? Is it something that's, like, not discussed? Is it something that young teen men don't necessarily talk about amongst each other, like their body issues?
I mean, it's probably definitely out there. It's nothing that really, like, I've experienced so far. But I think that the difference between guys versus girls, like you touched on, was that most girls want to like as a general statement, most girls want to be thinner and smaller, while guys want to be bigger and bulkier. So I think that not as many guys go through eating disorders as much as females do, just because guys have that mindset of wanting to be bigger. So you got to consume everything that you see to try to get that.
And you're absolutely right. And I think eating disorders is something which is so shunned about amongst teens, especially. Like, I know growing up, I felt maybe a few people around me had that issue, but it was never something, as you know, Olivia said, you would ask or you would discuss. So it almost sometimes even became hard to help that person, because if someone's not telling you, it's a little bit more challenging to help. And I think it's great that we can talk about these issues so that people can realize that there's a lot more to our bodies than just looking a certain way. Yeah. Isabella, is that something you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in high school. Like, I was a dancer my whole life, and I was always pretty thin, and that was what was pushed upon us, to be really thin and to not eat very much. And I stopped dancing, like, I gained weight, which was totally normal and healthy, but obviously, like, you know, that
crushed you.
Totally crushed me.
Right.
So, you know, I like had a developing eating disorder. I would barely eat and just run all the time and feel terrible. And it was just like downward spiral. And then I finally got into weightlifting and just found it an amazing outlet. And really, I think something that's important for everyone, teens and everyone, to understand is that you are in total control of your body and the way you feel and the way you look. And I feel like a lot of people, especially with eating disorders or like developing eating disorders, feel really out of control.
Yep.
And kind of take that stopping, like not eating, as a way to get in control of how they look. But you totally are in control and can manipulate everything, like with whatever you do, in a totally healthy way, and make yourself look how you want to look or how you want to feel.
So when you started weightlifting, because this is really cool to me, did you feel like you were gaining weight at first, and were you panicking because you're like, wait, I'm a teen and I just stopped dancing and I was really thin, and now I've put on, you know, some type of weight, and now I'm weightlifting. So did you experience that struggle?
I actually lost weight initially, which is what happens because you are just burning actually a ton of calories. And, you know, if you're eating healthy and, you know, tailoring your diet to, you know, a proper amount and like not overeating, then you do lose weight, which is what the opposite of what people think. They think, I'm lifting weights, I'm going to gain weight. But you actually lose weight just because of the amount of calories you're burning. You burn way more calories lifting weights than you do doing cardio. So.
And most people don't know that. Most people think, okay,
exactly.
You know, I have prom coming up. I need to run on the treadmill every day for 40 minutes and not eat my lunch or dinner, and, you know, I'll burn calories. Versus, imagine you were to tell, you know, a teen, okay, eat as much as you want and weightlift before prom. I think they'd faint.
Exactly, because like you need, that's the thing. A lot of people that weightlift, like, they say, oh, I weightlift so I can eat more.
Right.
Which is totally true. Like, I eat double now what I used to eat, and I look better. So,
which I think
it goes into your muscles, and you're constantly building your body, and your body's burning calories while you're doing nothing, as opposed to, like, say, running on the treadmill. Not that I have anything against running, but running on the treadmill or doing some kind of steady cardio, you're only expending that energy and burning those calories while you're doing the actual activity, as opposed to, like, increasing your metabolism throughout the rest of the day.
And I think the topic that you touched upon, that, you know, getting the prom buddy is very important, especially for girls.
Right.
Like, you know, from the beginning of grade 12, they're just like working out and not eating just to, you know, fit into this one dress.
For the 5 hours of the evening. Did you guys experience the prom hectic mania?
Well, we're experiencing it this year, right? We're in grade 12, so it's getting intense. March break is this week, so we're probably going to look for dresses,
and
prom dates. Like, we're all like nervous about that, so yeah.
And do you feel like going for dress shopping is where the whole body scare starts? You know, when girls stand in front of that mirror and their friends are sending them pictures of like the outfits they picked and how they look, and then you're standing there and you're like, this doesn't look that right on me. Or
like, all the girls in my grade, we made a Facebook group just so we could not buy the same dress. So we don't look, you know, weird. And most of these girls have like mermaid dresses. I'm like, damn, you look so good. And I'm like, I'm thinking of getting like a little like flare out, like, so to hide my thick thighs. So I don't know, it's hard.
You should, that's the whole thing, that you should be proud of your thick thighs.
And like embrace it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, if you're not happy with the way you look, then you can for sure change it. But ultimately, I think it's about accepting, like, obviously your genetics, and you can do whatever you want to your body. Like, you can totally change your body, but if you're genetically disposed to like carry your weight in a certain spot, then like embrace that, you know, and like you can do exercises in the gym that like help with that, and you know, tone it if you want to look like more lean and
work with it.
Yeah, you can work with it.
And be,
basically.
you know, be proud of your body, because body image and self-esteem is a huge correlation.
Oh, for sure.
52% of teens say the way their body makes them feel is so important to them. So, you know, if they wake up and they feel like they look really good, they're more motivated in their daily life for everything else. And sometimes we don't realize it, but you know, they always say, we always make a joke for girls, when you get your hair done and your nails done, don't you feel so amazing walking down the street? And it's the same thing. If you're confident in your skin and if you feel like you're looking good, then automatically, you know, you begin to feel good and your self-esteem goes up. And I remember when I was going prom shopping, I had the same feeling. I said, oh my God, I'm more broader built, and you know, how am I gonna look thin and lean? And I was only trying on black dresses, and I didn't want to try on any other color. And you know, at that point, my mom had said to me, she said, you know, you need to start enjoying life. And if you run behind, you know, a black sheet of cloth, there's only like so much fun you're gonna have. And if you like that other mermaid dress, ironically to what you're saying, or a short cocktail dress, enjoy it, because you know, that's your body. And I still remember I was nervous, I didn't want to eat, and you know, you kind of want that perfect prom look, and you're stuck in that comparison with everyone. So I think it's important that we let you know, teens know that embracing your body is equally as important to feeling good.
Yeah, definitely.
On that note, we will be back on the other side of the break, where we talk about how Isabella made it somewhere close to the Olympics. Hi everyone, I'm Ruchika Bindra, and we are talking about body image and the idea of how you see yourself while being a teen. One of the most influenced aspects for teens is the media, and we've already discussed that many times before. What about Victoria's Secret fashion show? It's something that they say more and more teens are tuning into, teen men and women. Is that something you guys have watched?
I mean, I've seen a lot of advertisements about it, and it's something that many teenagers, as you said, watch, and is a great influence in how people want to, especially like females, how they want to look. And it is a very popular show that a lot of people do watch.
Why do you think they're so drawn to it?
Well, it gives an image, it kind of gives you a guideline on, like, this is how you should look.
Right.
And that's what people are looking for. Well, they don't say that they're looking for it, but like in the back of their mind, yeah, they're like, oh, I want to know what I should look like, and that show gives it to them.
And do you feel like, Mark, as a guy, so many women watch it because they think that's how I should look, so that more males are attracted to me? And as a guy, when you hear about the show, like, where's your perspective on it?
I feel like a big part of it is that a lot of women want to look like that, and I think that a lot of the reason as to like why guys watch it is, yeah, sure, like it's visually pleasing. Like a guy will watch it and will be like, okay, yeah, sure, that looks nice and everything, but at the end of the day, like a guy's not gonna judge someone who looks like that versus just someone who's like normal in everyday life and whatnot. So I don't really think that a guy watches Victoria's Secret fashion shows and says, okay, look, that's my standard, I want that in life. I think that guys are a lot more lenient than what people see on the Victoria's Secret.
So do you think women, though, watch that and take that, like, shows such as that are sort of the ideal, as Nitka said?
I think a lot of the girls want to look like that because that's what they think will make them look attractive, and that's what they think will make them feel good. But I don't think guys aren't really drawn to that. Like, you don't have to look like that for anyone to think
Isabella, during your training and sort of, you know, process into the Olympics, what have you felt with body image and sort of shows such as this in the media, and what's their influence?
I mean, I definitely know a ton of girls, like all throughout high school, my friends, and now into university, all watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show, like love it, wait for it, it's like Christmas to them, and it's crazy and it's so unhealthy. And just the fact, I mean, these girls obviously have a natural, very thin frame, and they work out. That's their full-time job, is to look like that. And it's definitely not healthy. Like, they're not in a healthy state while they're on stage, but that's part of their show. But I just don't think people understand that. It's not real, and you don't have to look like that, and you shouldn't want to look like that. You should just want to, you know, be healthy and fit for yourself. And yeah, people stress over that show a lot.
I know, it's like the highlight of the year.
Yeah,
and I think it's important that women realize that that's just a highlight reel of somebody
Exactly.
for a show. It's
Just
their full-time job.
an hour
to
of their
be
life.
that way.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's not a realistic view of how you should want to see yourself.
Exactly, for sure.
I know that you're competing for the nationals this year,
Yes.
which is really, really great. We're roaring for you, and we hope you make it. I read an interesting article that weightlifting in women is a new trend that has come about in the last few years, because there's been a tendency that women who want to work out want to look thinner and leaner, and they
Right.
think weightlifting makes you bigger.
Right.
So when you started on this process, I know you wanted to change your idea of, you know, how you felt about your body, and you wanted to be more comfortable. Do more women that go into bodybuilding find that they're more comfortable with their body now because they appreciate it better?
Yeah, 100%. Every girl, woman, female that I know who lifts weights to any extent is a lot more comfortable with themselves, and it's just totally empowering. Like, you're making yourself stronger physically, which makes you stronger emotionally, and I think that's really important for everyone, because the media is so hard on girls and guys, but you know, girls have a especially hard time with how they look and feel. So it's a very empowering sport.
What advice could you give both young men and women, teens that are going through, you know, their teenage years, their high school years, their prom year, and they're so hard on themselves in terms of how they should look and how they should be, based obviously on the media and so many other factors?
I think definitely don't be so hard on yourself, although that's really hard. Like, it's easier said than done, but you know, just being healthy and taking action. You know, if you feel like, oh, I should go to the gym, start going to the gym and see what happens. You know, it's not going to do any damage. If you don't like it, you stop, for example. And yeah, just realizing you are totally in control of your life, your mood, your body, like all of that, your confidence. And weightlifting is just like one amazing means to achieve that.
Do you guys think that more and more now women are coming up with more broader bodies in the media? You know, there's like sort of Adele, and there's more icons that are coming out that are a little bit bigger. And do you think that that's helping to show that there can be different types of ideals of what women should look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that there's, you know, in the past, like, it was always just like that one standard of like having that hourglass figure of like maybe the Kim Kardashian look of, you know, everyone must look like that if you want to be beautiful. But now, like, there's more people, as you said, like Adele, that are coming out and like embracing their bodies and loving themselves. And I think that's very important, and that they're doing a great job and, you know, sending a great message to the world, really.
And Mark, as a guy, do you think that there's a change now, even for the way men are perceived in the media and how they should look?
I think that when a female is confident in her body, that's more attractive than anything else. And the fact that you can embrace that. And I think that through like all this media and whatnot, and there's a lot more body types and whatnot that are being shown, I think that a lot of the girls are being more confident in themselves, and therefore the guys are just finding like, they just have a broader idea of what they find attractive and what they like. But then again, you should, like, obviously you should never be tailoring yourself to anybody else's standards or anybody else's wants.
Olivia, what do you have to say on this?
Well, I've talked to like females and males about just body image in general, and the guys that I've talked to, they're always like, confidence is the most good-looking thing on a female.
Is the key.
Yeah,
is the key to attraction.
So, yeah, I don't think, like, I'm sure they do, obviously physical attraction is a thing, but their like confidence is like so attractive to me.
Is number one, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're confident in how you are, you perceive yourself to be stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you come off a little bit more poised and, you know, a little bit more impactful.
Yeah.
All right, and that was our episode today, where we spoke about a really important issue going on with teenagers, not only in Canada but all across the world, the idea of body image. Being thin doesn't necessarily mean you're always healthy, and being big doesn't necessarily mean you're not fit. Thank you, and we will see you on next week's episode of #NoFilter.